Hello, everybody, and welcome to Esoteric Tea with Lucky and Cortney. And we're welcoming Matt and Grandpa Brian to the lovely conversation. It's a warm
Yeah,
and interesting time.
yeah. Well, we were talking backstage, so that's why we're all kind of still engrossed with Matt. You were telling us about all sorts of stuff happening with your apartment building, and now you're kind of going, is this spirit trying to tell me something? Um, what do you can get from that? You can start right in because I bet you the audience is curious as to your thoughts on that. Like,
So, short story long, I mean, reverse that. From about May 15th, my apartment got flooded. The big storms that came through Denver, water couldn't go down the drain pipe. It flooded through 3 floors. I'm on the bottom floor, so there was damage. I spent time with a friend. They were supposed to be done in 10 days. They weren't done. Then they get it pretty much taken care of. They had to take out the shower enclosure. They had to tear out walls, take up and repaint everything. And then last Sunday, I get up, go to the bathroom, flush the toilet, come out to my computer desk, and all of a sudden my feet are wet. And it's not in the bedroom, it's where I'm sitting by the front door. I get up to look down the kitchen hallway, and there's a river coming at me. You have to call maintenance. They have to come. It's like 4:30, 4:45 in the morning. They're here about 5 after 5. And so I've had blowers and dryers in my apartment for 5 days,
mm,
and it's like 93 degrees. So it was really hot in the bedroom. And so to me, everything has a significance, it has a meaning, and there's lots of energy. The Schumann resonance is through the roof. And so I'm wondering to myself, since May, you've been sending water at me. You know, what
oh.
what the hell, Mother Nature? I'm an air sign. Are you cleansing me? Are you trying to wash away all the baggage I'm still carrying? At 65, I've got a lot of life
Mhm.
experiences. Some things I might regret, and some things are so small that at the time it happened, I felt bad for. So if we can let those things go that no longer serve us, is that what I'm being told? So, it's like we've
Yeah.
got this massive sunspot eruption that's going to affect everyone for the next couple of days. It'll
Mhm.
mess with computers and things. Schumann resonance is way high. Normally, it resonates at 7.83 hertz, same resonance that humans do, but it's been up over 45, and it's been up several days over 100 hertz. So if
Mm.
your tinnitus is louder lately, it's because you're hearing the planet. If you go out in nature in the wilderness, you hear things, and if you're an empath and you're about love, cooperation, and compassion, you'll have animals coming out of the woodwork to see you. So I'm just wondering, are other people having like parts of your life appear to be falling apart, and other parts are like, wow, where did I learn that? Like all of a sudden we know things that we didn't know we knew, or we're just
Mhm.
remembering.
Mhm. Matt, for me, because some people here know that I was absent for a little bit on my channel because a couple of weeks ago, a big portion of our living room ceiling just fell. It just fell from the rain, from this, from that, all sorts of things. But what's interesting is that a few weeks prior to that, I was in the shower, and often when I'm in the shower, I talk to my house. How are you doing? Thank you for the pipes. I love being washed, that kind of thing. And I asked the house, I said, present to me what you need this season. What do we need to fix this season? Well, she's been presenting. But what's interesting, she really has. Yeah. I was just before we got here, I went to the bathroom and I was like, damn, I still need to get that part. I got to get to Home Depot. I hate having to go to Home Depot. So she's presenting, but it's also for me because I'm the one that gets most of the work done. That's the biggest difference is I'm there finishing it or I'm there doing it entirely. I mean, mailbox fell down the day before 4th of July, just completely fell over because it rotted out because of all the rain. And I'm the one who built a new one on Sunday after the 4th of July, you know? So for me, I know this past year I had been questioning in regard where my body was. As getting older, can I still do some of the stuff that I used to do? Can I still pick up a big old 2x4 and move it around? And what can I still do stuff? And I really had been questioning. Well, then when all this happened, my teachers tell me to ask myself what in me invites this to be. So when I'm like finishing painting the ceiling and I'm doing all this stuff, I was like, what in me invites this to be? And automatically their first response was, so your body could prove it to you and you could command your body. Like I could say, body, we're doing this because it has to be done. So for me, I know it was something like that. Like it's somewhere physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, something probably all encompassing why stuff like this does happen. But I have been trained to say, ask myself, ask my soul, what in me invites this to be? And then keep asking and keep asking. But I know it's not just me, Matt. And I know it's not just you. So many people in what I call the year, one of the biggest transition years, 2025, are being hit with just different. You know, we're kind of used to what we get hit with, but it's been different for people. But it's kind of tested them, tested their patience, tested their will, tested their physical, tested their emotional, whatever. And I find that interesting, that's got to be something within the collective. Any thoughts on that, guys? I don't know. Have you guys been tested? I mean, Matt, it might have not felt so much like a test, or maybe it did, but it's that's pretty big to have to work with, work with it. That's really big.
Well, I back out with her. I do believe it was Wednesday. Go to put it in drive. The gear shift goes like this and then it locks. So my truck is locked in reverse.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I call AAA, and then I call my boss and say, "Hey, I'm broke down. I'm not going to be able to make it in today." But his reply to me was, "That's effing bullshit. I'm sending Johnny to pick you up. You're coming in and working." So I went in and worked, like a good employee. And I still have not gotten an apology from him. So Monday, I'm going to have to go in and say something to him. When I'm not on the clock, I am not your slave. You don't talk to me like that. You talk to me with respect. Well, then I get down here to the cabin, and my truck's making noise. I think I got a pulley getting ready to go out. So it's going to be back to the mechanic again on probably Monday. But the good thing was it was a locking mechanism in the steering column, and it wasn't nothing to do with the transmission. So
okay, good news.
I lucked out there.
Yeah, but still, like, just these little things that we're all used to big and little things that we kind of get used to, like, oh, that's the kink in the armor, or that's the kink here. It's just been different kinks, hasn't it been?
Do you think that your truck's being stuck in reverse is a sign that maybe you need to back up and look at something?
Ooh. We lost Lucky. He'll be back.
Yeah.
Ooh, what do you think?
I don't know, but I do know water in the house. I was talking to Trina the other night, and she's a realtor. When you have water leaks in your house, that signifies changes. So you could be having some changes coming your way, Matt.
Oh, I'm sure of that. When I was studying shamanism from Peter Calhoun, he was telling me one time that I'm my own worst enemy. That sometimes I just need to pick my feet up and let the river take me where I'm going anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
That I get stubborn, part of my German heritage, I guess. And excuse me. And that I will sit and walk across the stream and then have to walk down. But if I just would pick my feet up, the stream would take me exactly where I needed to go without any nonsense. And so it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to lift your feet, right? It's like I always tell people work with the energies, not against them. But if you don't really know where those energies are leading you, it's kind of hard to pick your feet up and follow.
So I've become kind of a hermit ever since COVID.
Yeah.
I had to quit working. I spent time in the Gulf War. I slept in a bunker, and it could be the universe is trying to tell me it's time to get up and get out. I got a Jeep Wrangler. I've only taken the top off of it like 3 times this year. Went on a Jeep trail. I found there's a couple of Jeep clubs that, they're different skill levels, novice and all that kind of thing. And I'd like to get involved in that. And I got craft ideas and things I want to do, but I just kind of sit here and stagnate. I'm also dealing with, I don't know if this is affecting other people lately too, a lot of insomnia. Like between 11:30 and 1:30, I might go to bed. I'll wake up between 3 and 4 because there's some spiritual activity going on, and Lord knows I'll hear it or whatever. And then so rather than go back to bed, I'll come sit in front of the computer for 4 or 5 hours, go back to bed for that second sleep 5 hours, and then get up and still just not feel like doing a damn thing. So it's not like I'm worried about Scud missiles raining down on me again. It's not like I'm in any of the military bases between Israel and Iran right now. So what the hell am I as an older white guy afraid about going outside of my apartment?
Right.
So I think we all have some kind of sticking point we're going through right now. I couldn't tell you what it is for each and every one of everyone here, but there's things that sometimes we just got to say, I don't understand, universe. I've talked to my spirit guides. It's like, I sense you. I feel you touching my cheek or tugging my ear, but can you communicate to me in a manner that I can understand and process? And sometimes I have to pay close attention because it's symbology. My friends just recently went on their honeymoon to Seattle and Vancouver and went on a whale watch. And before they left, I'm like, when you get on the boat and you get close, do Reiki energy healing with the intention of sending love and healing to any of the whales that need it, and see if they come up closer. They had whales coming up to the boat.
Wow.
So sometimes if we just bring that energy up, we don't even realize how much we can repair things around us. Including ourselves.
Lucky, what do you think about all this? You popped out, you popped back in, or you're just making sure all the control room is good? Do you have any thoughts?
I'm having computer problems, so it's just a problem on the list. I think there's an issue somewhere on the internet somewhere. I thought it was my computer. It might not be my computer. It might be the internet, but it seems to be stable right now. I've been today. I took, because my wife is going to the temple, the Thai temple tomorrow, so I took the car to get gas and get it washed and everything. And then I went to the store to pick up something, and it was packed with people. And I'm in the middle of the store, and I just started having one of those anxiety issues. I had a panic attack in the middle of the store, and I haven't had one of those in ages. Christmas times is usually my sensitive time, so maybe this is so many people, but So I just walked to the front, and the guy, "Can I help you with anything?" No, I just gotta. There's just too many people. I gotta leave. He goes, "Well, you stand in this line, you get a free gift card and donuts and coffee." And I'm like, "No, I have to go now." And he goes, "Okay, no problem. No, sorry, sir." So I left. But yeah, I the energy might be off route for some other reason, but I feel it. I just feel I feel weird lately, and I just couldn't put my finger on it.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay, Lucky. Yeah, it's
And some
been
of
quite a
that,
while. It's been a while since you had a panic attack, so okay.
but
Okay. Go
sometimes those
ahead.
panic attacks and energies is part of all that energy coming in and
Mm-hmm.
Schumann resonance being high.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting downloads that we're not even aware of. Our
Mm-hmm.
carbon-based body is becoming more crystalline. We're
Mm-hmm.
absorbing more light, and so we get that ripple, that fear of the unknown. We don't know what the hell's going on, so that anxiety kicks in. So don't beat yourself up trying to figure out why it is.
Yeah.
It just
Right.
was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What about you, Grandpa Brian? What do you think? Because, it's interesting because we have a few months left of 2025, and I do feel like this is one of the biggest transition years for us humans as an individuals and collectives that we might not see the results until a while down the road, but do you feel like there's stuff going on internally, externally that kind of has you reviewing things or looking at things or questioning things or decisions need to be made? Do you feel that way?
Yes, but first of all, the energies right now, you have Pluto and Saturn conjuncting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is not good energy at all. So that could be a lot of the problems because of the energy that's coming in right now with people having
Mm-hmm.
problems. So uh, we may never see the results in this lifetime. We're just
Yeah.
now we're opening the door for basically everyone else. So we might see a little bit of results maybe a year or two down the road. I mean, we'll see results in ourselves, but as
Right.
humanity in a whole, uh, you're not going to receive the results of the work that we're doing now, probably 200 years, maybe even three,
Yeah.
because that's when Pisces will know. Even right now, even though we're in the age of Aquarius, you still have the effects of Pisces because it takes a couple hundred years to get away from that energy of Pisces and fully into the energy of the age of Aquarius. So it would make sense that it would take about that much time for the real awakening to happen. Like I said, we're opening the doors now for it by shows like this and Drama 7 and others.
Mm-hmm.
And, all the messages that are being put out there by other people. I mean, it's starting to get around. People are starting to become aware. And I think the biggest part of it uh, was the pandemic because people weren't able to go to church, and then they started going inside themselves because they didn't have that church availability. And I think that's when it
Mm-hmm.
really truly started because a lot of people are like, wow, I don't need to go to church to feel a connection to God. And then, like it says I guess Jesus says in the Bible, the kingdom of God is within. Everything is within. Once you look inside yourself, then you realize you see that spark, and that is the spark of source.
Yeah.
So I think people are starting to realize that the control matrix of what religion is, and it's just going to be a new experience, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people because of the indoctrination
Mm.
of so many years of, you know, external. Everything's external.
Right.
Like
The age
all
of
of us,
Aquarius is all about going in. It's all internal. And that's what Jesus was trying to teach. It's all internal. So when you go inside yourself, that's when everything starts to unlock. Do you guys agree?
What were you going to say, Matt?
um, along with Brian and Witchy Trista, when we carry as much light as we do and we're empathic, we're like a flame for moths. So people that haven't grasped that they're on a spiritual path, they flock to us not knowing what the hell's going on. And sometimes you get the energy vampires. But one of the things I always taught myself was to make myself a drinking straw. I connect to Sky Father, Earth Mother, and I bring their love down into my heart, and I send that out to anyone who needs it. And if you're going to take more energy than you deserve, you have to pay me back 50 to 1 energy units. And then energy vampires will walk away from you. But if you still try to take my energy, I can just bypass my heart and send you Mother Earth and Sky Father, and that should help you deal with what you need to deal with. You know, friends that are in my spiritual kind of group, I give you permission. I'm 6'3", over 350 pounds. Step inside my energy and I'll protect. You know, I'm like a giant grizzly bear. And so, you know, there's a lot of us that people come to us and they tell us their life story and they don't know why. You know, and sometimes we're sin eaters. Before the Catholic Church had confessional, there'd be people in villages, there'd be a midwife, there'd be a sin eater who, as people were coming close to death, they'd call for the sin eater. And these were people that listened to the dying's regrets, sorrows, and joys, and not pass judgment and just release them of that burden. So that's why some people come to us and dump shit on us that we don't even know. So, yeah, there's a lot going on for us empathic people, and we can be drained real easily. You know, sometimes I just put a bubble around me that you can only come within 6 feet of my energy.
Oh, Matt, so I'm a professional driver, and so 200 feet following distance for everybody and everything with me. 200 feet, people. 200 feet. But you know, for me, Matt, I actually teach that when I teach Reiki, especially just Reiki 1, I teach them to connect energy from the earth, Father, Sky, and bring it into your heart center to do the Reiki, which is good for anybody to do. For me, though, when you were talking, I was thinking about the I've never gotten a full reading of the human design stuff, but I do know that I'm a manifesting generator, and apparently what that means is that I create my own energy. So like for people that are that, it's not that we're just manifesting all the time and it's real easy. It's actually what it represents is that I'm not giving nor like if I give you some, I can create my own again. If you take some, I can create my own again. But I don't believe
I gotta
that.
give to receive.
Yes, right. But it's like so I personally, probably because I started the whole, 200 feet following distance a long time ago of like, I know my energy and I decide who's in and who's out, or, I can because I can listen to everybody's stories and I can listen to that, but because it's not mine, I don't take it. I don't, it doesn't affect me. 200 feet following distance, even if we're just 3 feet away. But I know that that's not the same for the majority of empaths. Like my husband, oh my God, he has to come home pretty much every day and just lay down for hours because that poor man, double cancer, is just soaking the entire world in. And it's almost, I mean, we've taught him all the stuff to do to protect himself, but he's a cosmic sponge times 20. And so that poor guy just goes and lays down and just lets it all get out of him. So I know that most people are not like me. And I do know that it helps if it's not just our energy that we're bringing into ourselves that can be released, right? Bring in the energy from, whatever you see as positive energy. That can help a lot of empaths, I think so. And I think there's, I think we have I think there's a ton of empaths right now, and I think there's probably in the near future, everybody being born will be of some sort of empath. I do think so.
You ever talk to a 10-year-old kid or younger right now?
Yeah, exactly, man.
They're incredible.
I know.
Whoa.
They're awesome. They're awesome. And I'm like, I want to actually hang out with you guys. You're the ones that have been hurt so far.
You know, it's like as
people.
time has gone on, various things have changed their meaning. Like everyone thinks light workers, it's all about sunshine. But we forget that some of us are shadow workers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people that were goth, or that they like to wear black, or they just kind of stood against the back wall watching things going on. You know, sometimes you have to have people that have that empathic ability to go deal with people that are on their lowest. You know, somebody that's been there that can go talk to an abuse victim, somebody that can talk to an alcoholic addict. We all have our little things to do. And it makes me mad sometimes when I meet spiritual people and they have jealousy issues about my gifts versus your gifts.
Oh, that's weird.
If we're all part of the same team, we complement each other. You know, it's like through Cortney, I met Grandpa Brian, who introduced me to Lucky. And it's like we're starting to stitch things together around the entire globe, you know? And so you look at the tragedy in Texas, and all of a sudden people are coming out and helping each other. Again, is that the planet making us become more compassionate and cooperative? You know, nature demands a balance. For every bad, there has to be good to make it right. You know, so will these places now have flash flood alarms in the future? I think they probably will.
Wow. Yeah. What do you think, Brian? Lucky, you guys are so quiet over there.
Sorry for rambling on.
No.
Oh yeah, a couple things. When he was talking about Sin Eater, I worked at a job one day. There was 3 of us, and the next door neighbor came over and said, "Hey, could you guys take down the Christmas lights? We're trying to sell the place." And it was like, "Sure." So while them 2 were taking down the Christmas lights, she comes up to me and she starts telling me all about her separation and what her husband did to her, and just unloading on me. You know, me, I'm just releasing because, you know, I'm just letting her just ramble on. Well, then that night, I was talking to Matt on the phone, and I was telling him the story, and he's like, "Well, you were a pagan in the previous life." He said, "You were a sin eater," and then he explained what that was. And then I realized I have a lot of people that just come up to me and start dumping on me. And I never take it in because I know it's theirs, and I never pass judgment on anything that they say to me. Now the flood, you know, and you look at 9/11 and other major catastrophes, how people come together. If you take religion and politics out of the equation for all human beings, guess what? Everybody would get along. Everybody would be willing to help each other. But you have that politics and religion, and that's what keeps us separated. And I do believe they were created, both of them, to keep us separated, so we keep fighting, so they can feed off of the negative energy.
Yeah, the ideologies that divide. Yeah,
the reptilians that got together with the elite.
Yeah, exactly.
If you take those 2 out of the equation, 90% of the people are willing to help another person.
Yeah, I believe that.
Religions worldwide, and I have to accept yours as the only correct one.
Right.
Yeah. Lucky, what do you think? Can your computer? Your voice was a little scratchy last time, then it starts sorting itself out. So, what do you think?
There's a lot. Matt said about the straw from source and from grounding energy in Mother Earth. I do that all the time. It's my go-to now. So that if I meet energy vampires, they have plenty of energy to suck off of, but it's all positive energy. And I think energy vampires like the more of the negative, the stress, energy. So I really believe that that's what energy value fires actually feed off of more lower energy than higher energy. So when you're pure source and pure energy, Mother Earth, they don't stick around too long. That's my experience. And someone's mentioned grounding. I hike. I try to hike every day, but unfortunately, they're building a house on the border of the conservation land, so I haven't been able to walk while in the trucks because they're it's a long story. Long story short is during the week they have an excavator excavating the land to dig the land up. So, but today there wasn't. There's all rocks where my trail is, and then my dead end street. It's full of rocks right now. But F you, I'm climbing over them. I don't care. So that's what I did today. But actually, I did it yesterday too because they ended early. Ended up cutting my foot, and my foot is all taped up. But I needed the grounding anyway. So,
Yeah. What are you gonna do when the people actually move into that house? Are you gonna like knock on their door and be like, "Listen, I actually walk that trail every day. Do you mind me actually just cutting through your yard?"
No, it's not their yard. That's the thing.
Oh.
The problem is they're putting boulders on conservation land. They're excavating well past the boundary of the land. The land ends, and they're still putting dirt on conservation land.
Okay.
So I never need to walk on anyone else's property. The conservation trail is right there on conservation land by a good 20 feet. But they just piled rocks there. End of the street, piled of rocks. They don't care. I did film a video, and I'm going to send it to the town board of selectmen, along with the,
aldermen and whatnot. Yeah.
I'm going to send an email to the people who they've already told me, oh, if it's a big problem, you can always walk around and go. Basically, it's about maybe almost a mile to walk around the streets and go to the grocery store. And behind the grocery store is another entrance to the conservation land. But I've been walking this land for 20 years, and now I have to go around and go in the street, it's there are ways of not causing a stink, but I don't have to cause. If I could cause a little stink, that's my place, But it is what it is.
Your frustration.
Yeah.
I mean, and also they did which is funny, like a year ago, the conservation people who are, work for the state. They did a report, and they reported that the house being built, they dumped a bunch of trash on the land. It's still there. It's an old jungle gym swing set that for some reason in their infinite wisdom when they built the house, they just took an excavator, just pushed it off onto conservation land, and because the house that was there had a swing set, and rather than taking and dismantling it, just put the excavator and just pushed it off onto conservation land, and it's in the report. Along with, we got to talk to them about they're also putting building stuff on land. So I'm like, it's still there, guys, and it's getting worse. And here's my report. Please look into this. Might be deaf ears, but at least I got something. At least I get to vent for a few minutes.
Yeah. And maybe they'll clean it all up at the very end. Who knows? Maybe they will. That'd be lovely. Matt, I gotta ask you, darling. May I ask? In June, Lucky and I did a recap of the first 6 months of 2025 and what are we thinking might happen the next 6 months. And you were in the chat and you had mentioned, well, we might actually see, or the government might say, or we might see aliens actually come. Do you actually have thoughts about that, or were you just be in the chat chatting it up? Do you think aliens are going to, present themselves?
Are you familiar with the Christ conscious planets?
Planets? Yes.
Planets. Okay.
Planets.
So there's 12 of them. Earth is one. And we became so corrupt as a society before Middle Ages, all the feuding and the fighting and the world wars and stuff. And it's believed that Hitler, the Russians, and possibly the Americans had encounters with aliens and UFO like Roswell and that whole incident. And so there's also comments that there's a lot of different intergalactic individuals, if you will. I really don't like the word alien.
Yeah.
And
entity.
Yeah. And of those 12 planets, they've opened things back up. It's believed that the moon is a satellite. There's a lot of stuff on the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Files, if you watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I think I was told that I'm an emissary from the Pleiades, the seven sisters in the Orion constellation. And the Orion constellation is another one of the areas of the Christ consciousness. And every now and then I feel like a presence where when things are going wrong, it's like somebody's just flicking you and it's just annoying, irritating little shit. I know it's somebody sitting in a spaceship adjusting things to fuck with me. I call them Poindexter. But I think a lot of us as star seeds, indigo children, we are emissaries, and at some point we're going to reconnect and explain what our experiences are here, because some of those other areas, other planets, are all about light and love. So there's not even a meat sack, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's too many people that sense and feel these presences. Have you ever watched Dr. Stephen Greer in Undisclosed? He has worked with secret government programs and people that are involved in it. But he goes out with a group of people, like in the mountains or out in the prairie, and they do a lot of energy kind of healing, drawing up energy, whether it's Qigong, shamanic, green witch energy. And then they send out an attention that we're here, we'd like to connect with you. And they have night vision goggles, and they see craft come in.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had craft come in, and all of a sudden military fighters show up. And so I think we're getting to a point that the governments are now showing that they have our Navy tracking stuff, Tic Tacs. And,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we can't believe of all the billions and billions and billions of stars that God, Yahshua, or whoever created, that we're the only intelligent traveling life form.
Okay, so you think that more people are going to just start accepting it as, yeah, we're not the only ones. And actually there's a ton of folks that can communicate with them telepathically, in visions, what have you, that it's like, this is not going to be, a mystery anymore or something with the cult. It's going to be like, this is just mainstream. This is what humans do. Like, that's what we're kind of headed into.
You go walking in the woods at night, and a lot of people don't. Like the Appalachian Trail, there's lots of weird noises and sound, and they don't know if it's demons, animals, or what. And I just think that if you go back to all the people that have claimed to be abducted, who actually probably were abducted, it's like Travis Walton, where he was sucked up and returned like 50 days later naked. Who took him?
Right.
And I think we're getting to the point you can kind of see the cruelty in the planet. And it's not just America, it's worldwide. You can see people that are coming out of the woodwork to help each other. Mother Earth is having energy and growing pains. You got volcanoes going off, you have earthquake storms, there's all kinds of things. And there's groups of us that are supposed to be here to help the transition of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you and I first met, our age difference, we're a good 30 years apart, but we can speak the same language.
Yeah, right.
And it's like some of the stuff you teach, like the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, that's some deep stuff that I just have a hard time getting into. So thanks for your classes on it. But I believe that, like when I was telling my friend to do the Reiki energy to communicate with the whales, that animals, when we try to communicate with them, if we think in pictures, I'd like you to come here so I can hold you, so I can pet you. I want to be your friend. And I think some of us with the tinnitus it's possibly also whatever planet we're from in the Christ consciousness. You know, you've got some that are, they look like birds. There's some that look like talls, but they got triangular heads and they're blue. You know, everyone's got Arcturians. You know, you can look up all different kinds.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go to certain areas and you feel energy, but you can't explain what it is.
Right.
You know, it's like, I'm not very religious, but if I go into a big cathedral, I can feel the power of the people's belief of Jesus and God.
Right.
Because it's been in there for years.
Right.
On a daily basis. So we go into certain areas and it's like, you don't want to go in here. You just need to leave. And you listen to your gut and you leave. And then there's other times we're drawn to places. We don't know why we're drawn there. And we just sit there wondering what the fuck. You know, so I think it's going to get close to possibly something catastrophic like a volcano and lava coming down, and some of those beings come to help rescue and assist the rescuers. And it's like, they're not all evil. They're not all here to destroy us, because if they were here to destroy us, they would have already done it.
Right. So I'm digging what you're saying, Matt, and I'm thinking how cool it would be that if humans that are probably starseeds of some sort just accepted it within themselves. And wouldn't it be cool if, like, maybe in, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 years, the young people, instead of saying like, hey, what's your sign? What's your sign? When they meet, they go, so where are you from? What's your origin? What's your origin of being? You know, because then if something were to happen and aliens were to come to help, well, then that's just not so much commonplace, but no, people wouldn't be afraid of it, because everybody's kind of like, yeah, that's our brethren, that's our sisters, they are us and we are them, right? So that would be really cool.
Why was Space Force developed?
Oh, so many things, so many government things. Why was any of it developed? Right. I agree with you. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I think it started with the Catholic Church when they sent that probe, deep space probe that's hooked to the telescope.
Oh, shit.
When I was telling my mom, saying something to mom because she's a devout Catholic, I was like, so what do you think about the telescope that the Rome built out in Arizona? She's like, it's just a waste of our money. I was like, well, they told you about that one, but they didn't tell you about the other one up in Alaska that's hooked to a satellite that he shot out. So you're even spending more of your money trying to find aliens. We may not see them this year, but we will next year.
Aliens?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were basically waiting for Trump to get into office, because he knows when they come, they're going to be coming in peace. And they didn't want there being misconstrued when they do land, that people would think, oh, it's an invasion, and then end up shooting at them.
Right.
So they were waiting for someone to be in office that they could trust to be able to actually land on Earth and not be shot at.
That he'd be all masculine about it and be like, everybody settle down. Just sit down, relax. We've got this.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You know,
in the next year or so.
Native Americans have the blue Kachina, the end of time prophecies. But who's to say that the intergalactic folk aren't going to meet up with Native Americans or Aborigines or the Earth people of, say, the Amazon regions?
Do you know, Matt, that's why my logo is a blue star? That's for that prophecy. Yeah. What, Lucky, what are you thinking, man? Sorry for cutting you boys off, but Lucky's popping in and out. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking my internet's really weird tonight, and I don't like it.
It's the sunspot activity.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is it's showing full. The connection is full, but the StreamYard is having trouble, and I'm not sure what the big deal is. I'm not sure what's going on. There's a connection issue.
Okay.
But I got Hecklefish, and Hecklefish is here.
Yes. Okay. So the Y Files just dropped one like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I did start watching it because that was my whole like I'm gonna relax for a minute before I'm on with you all. And I haven't finished it, but it was fascinating and good, and it reminded me of the January of 2025 Akashic reading was very long for the year, and in it said humans do have wings. Now I know what that means, but I was excited because the Y Files that came out today, and I know all the people here are going to watch it. I know everybody's going to do it. It was very relatable. Now, does he debunk it all at the end? I have no idea. But I think there is still some truth to what all is being said. And it was interesting, too, because it was about 23 chambers when for me personally, from the Akashic, I know that there are what is called 23 golden eagles, chiefs of the people's flight. And because humans do have wings, right? And I know that there's 18 of them that are alive now. Some are young and what have you, and 5 will be after I'm dead this round, right? That will be born. That I do know. It was very apropos to a lot of what the 2025 reading was about, and the whole humans have wings. So go and watch that, everybody. I know you will. That's all I'm going to say about that, by the way, until you watch the Y Files. Which, why am I supporting watching him? He's doing fine, but kudos to him. He deserves it. You know, he's worked really hard for it, very hard. It's only been 5 years of that channel. Can you believe that?
Well, AJ has been in the industry for a long time.
Right.
The Y Files was him settling because his life fell apart. But he's done a phenomenal job. Really, he does make it entertaining. He does take the information, he presents it as is, and then he takes what he can and proves what he can or disproves what he can, and the rest he goes, yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He's the perfect skeptic, because a skeptic is not about debunking everything. It's about taking it as is and taking the information and finding the truth from it, and then letting it be as it is. It's truly what skeptics are supposed to be, not debunking everything, but saying, okay, I'm coming as an unbiased source. And that's what a skeptic is supposed to be, unbiased. But skeptics now comes to someone who's not unbiased. They're about disproving absolutely everything. Yeah. Nothing is real to a skeptic.
He's like what old TV journalists used to be about. I'm going to present you the facts
and allow you
to make your own decision and opinion of what this is.
Oh my goodness, exactly. Yeah. Oh, we missed that. Some of us
spins we have right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's odd how you just hear the same thing over and over again. That's kind of what like Brian was saying too. Like when I hear, take it all in, read it all, listen to it all, be biased, but then take it into yourself, is like what Brian was saying. This is all about going within. When we were talking at the beginning, going within. Brian, I gotta ask you, darling, as you're over there probably in the chat saying hello to everybody. So you also were in that chat when Lucky and I in June were doing our next 6 months predictions, and you started talking about the ice caps or whatnot. What were you talking about? The ice caps melting or something along those lines. What were you referencing there? Do you even remember? You got the ice wall. The ice wall? Was that what it's called?
Yeah, I don't know. Beyond the ice wall.
Yes, beyond the ice wall. My husband, it was weird. You and my husband that week were like beyond the ice wall and the ice wall, and I was like, got it. Okay, I'll talk to Brian. So what's that all about?
According to them, Earth goes like this, like a snowman. So there's other Earths beyond the ice walls. So basically, Antarctica and Greenland, they have the thickest ice walls. So supposedly, there are gateways through there to where you go to the other Earths.
Ah.
At the end of 1947, the U.S. sent an expedition to the Antarctic with Admiral Byrd. They had all kinds of crew. It was supposed to last 6 months. He took a flight, and he was flying along, and all of a sudden he came through an area, and it opened up into lush green forests. And aircraft was brought down, and he met other people there, and official records have him being gone for like 3 days. They don't know where he went, but when he came back, it's like there's something there. The Nazis, prior to start of World War II, they were doing research in Antarctica, and it's believed that that's one of those places that there's a portal through to inner Earth, where some of the intergalactic friends are residing.
Right. You know, and in vast ancient stories and text, that the North Arctic was actually just beautiful and lush, and like that's the origin of our being, not Africa. And they had to migrate down to Africa because of a lot of calamities started happening. But what they would call, Eden or anything, the origin of where man really was beginning and everything was sound and great would have been the North Atlantic, what is all covered in ice now. And it was that covering of the ice and some other stuff that people had to migrate north. It's part of the Aryan story, not Aryan as in Hitler and the Jew and the Nazis. Aryan as in the Aryan race of many, many long ago. So who settled into what we know as ancient Persia, really. So and then flying over in 1942 or whatnot, yeah, why not? Why I don't see why that wouldn't be, because if we start talking about the flips of the poles, it's not like we've never been through a pole flip before. The shift of the poles. Exactly. And it's happened before. It's going to happen again. That even makes more understanding to, the Arctics, they were probably something very different than what we know of them today. And so I'm actually excited about it, because that's what possibly, in my humble opinion, can clean up a whole lot of stuff that needs to be washed away. That's for me. That's just my thing. There's a whole lot of things that I would love to see washed away as we talk about cleansing.
Right. You got the equator, which is the bigger circle, and the poles is smaller. So if all that ice melts, is that going to cause things to shift even faster?
It might. I think we're going to get colder before we get warmer. I do. That's why I moved to where I live now. I was like, Brad, we're going down south, because even if it becomes winter there, it's sure as shit not going to be the winter that it's going to be up in, near Wisconsin. And so it'll be kind of the standard winter that we might know. And so we'll help everybody know how to handle the winter that have never lived in winter, And so I do think it's going to get colder first before anything happens, as we are tilting. And because of, what the sun is doing. The sun is doing a lot of great things that do affect us, yes, animals and humans. A lot of the animals are being affected, so we have to pay attention to them as well. Yeah. Hey, Lucky, how you doing up there, buddy?
I'm okay. I'm just watching things progress. Hope for the best.
and hope for the best, right? Well, guys, I guess that's what I wanted to get clarity on, is what you were thinking about all those fun things like aliens and, ice walls and what's going to be what. Can I ask you what your thoughts are about the rest of 2025?
Well, if you know the true definition of what apocalypse means, and apocalypse means truth being revealed, uh, there's been a lot of truths revealed, and there's going to be a lot more truths revealed over the next year.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I can feel that. I can feel that.
Just
Yeah.
like, did you hear they closed off a section of the Grand Canyon because they found Egyptian hieroglyphs that predate the ones in Egypt? Yeah. Not only there, but they also found them in Tennessee also.
Hey, where? I'll go and drive to them. Where are they? Probably somewhere in the Smokies. Yep.
Yeah. So it looks like that the Egyptians could have actually migrated from here to Egypt.
Whoa. So here's my thing. Do you guys think that some of the stuff that we find is actually not from like the history that we know of, quote unquote, our recorded quote unquote history, as in like we've kind of just recycled a lot, this earth, us humans, we've ended, we've begun, we've ended, we've begun, we've ended, we've begun, that some of these locations and some of these things that we find are actually not even from our concept of recorded history, but from
the Mandela effect.
Yes, history that we might not even have any concept of because it was from a cycle, 3 cycles back.
How
right?
old are the Great Pyramids of Giza? How old is the Sphinx?
Right.
It's recorded that they're like 25,000 years. But the Museum of Natural History in Egypt puts them at 6,000 years because the Quran says that the earth is only 6,000 years old. So rather than fight the religion with the science that they have, carbon dating and everything else, they're setting things to be false. So yeah, there's a lot of history that's going to come out and be corrected.
Yeah, I totally dig it because they're questioning, well, when actually was the Sphinx made? And that's what I'm kind of talking about, is like maybe the Sphinx was from a cycle long ago that, this is before the flood, before the frost, before a cycle long ago, like maybe the Hindu texts of like when everybody's blowing each other up, right? That maybe maybe the Sphinx was actually in that time period, and the pyramids came way, way, way later. That maybe we're gonna start being able to drop all the so-called what we think we know and go with the infinite possibilities that this could be. We've been doing this for a very long time, which I would love that.
Why do we assume if we go back in history that they had to be dumber than us?
Yeah, right.
Some of those stones, those gigantic stones in monolith, you can't even slide a piece of paper in between it. There's a lot of speculation and belief that stuff was moved with sonic frequencies, that you could cause it to levitate, and we're basing today's modern timeline on the birth of Jesus. So we're 2,025 years ago, Jesus was born. But that's not the actual age of the planet. And who decided that 2025? And then you get into Jewish scripture, we're like 6,000, just again near the Muslim teaching. And I'm not familiar with the Chinese or Confucius teachings, but there's some things that just need to be clarified. It's like if we can see some of the secret files and stuff that's hidden in the Vatican archive vaults and shit that they've hidden in, our main museum in
The
Washington.
Smithsonian.
Thank you, Braveheart. It might be interesting to know who killed Kennedy, what was the real reason that they took. I don't care. Tell me the stuff that really affected why you repressed us, why you've been poisoning us here in America with our food. Why did you decide that that was a good idea? And did it ever occur to you to maybe ask the masses if we wanted a say in it?
I see. So for me, I would be happy with not even receiving all the quote unquote truth, but just having enough revealed that it creates enough question in the masses mind to remove any firm beliefs and stuff. I would settle for that right now. I would settle that if we could present enough question for reasonable doubt, right? Like if this was the court system, reasonable doubt, well then therefore it's not a definite. That I would totally for everything that we're talking about, everything we've ever talked about, if all humans could just lay down the definite within them, that would be that would open up so much to them just remembering who they are, and that they probably lived through it anyway, so they already know.
Why aren't we teaching how to listen to alternative facts to our belief system?
Right.
When did it become required that if you're Democrat, you have to hate Republicans, and if you're Republican, you just want to beat the shit out of it? You can't talk back and forth, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at all the various things that happened because, well, Tesla, all the stuff that he worked on, and he ended up penniless because they took his ideas because it was going to make things easier for everyone. Just because I don't understand how electricity works doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
But if I don't understand it and I think I understand it and somebody tells me I'm wrong and they say, here, let me show you a book, why do we get defensive and push them away? No, I know I'm right. You got to stop teaching that. It's like, okay, show me your belief and I'll explain to you why I have my belief.
It'd probably perfect electricity in the end, right? What do you think, Brian?
I don't know. They try to hide a lot from us, especially the Nikolai Tesla stuff. We could have had free energy to where no one would have to pay for energy, but companies would have been bankrupt if that went happen.
Is that what you're kind of referencing when you say you do believe more truth will come out in 2025 still?
I not only think that, I think about religion too. People are going to start waking. They're actually starting to wake up about the government now and how the government truly runs itself. They'll find out about religion and that it was set up to keep us separated and to keep control. And that's what it's been all about for the past 26,000 years. Marduke's control. Because Marduk has been controlling this simulation. And something I've been pondering over the past couple of days, it's one of the questions that I'm going to ask them. The angels, okay, are the angels that we think of connected to the God of this construct? And when I'm talking about the God of this construct, I'm talking about the God of the Bible, which we all know is not source. So if that is true, then that means that the angels that everybody goes to, they're actually a part of false light.
Right.
That's a question that's been kind of running through my head over the past couple of days. Are they actually true angelic beings of love and light, or are they angelic beings of the false light?
Hmm. Hmm. When you said you were going to ask about it, who are you asking?
The crown of glory. Do you know what that is? They talk about the crown of glory in the Bible, but it's not the same crown of glory. This crown of glory is 13 stones that surround the core of Earth. And what their job is to do is not only record all of Earth's information, but all of the information throughout the galaxy. And then they transfer that information back to source. So like, so there's not information just coming from everywhere for source.
Right.
This is like the recorders. They're basically like the Akashic records, but for the whole galaxy. And then they send that information to source.
Okay. And that's what you communicate with?
So, yes, I started communicating with the Crown of Glory about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so you just okay. How do you do that, Brian?
As of right now, I'm just using my pendulum because I want to make sure that I'm connecting with the energies and actually who I am connecting with. So I use my pendulum right now, and that's why I was showing you guys earlier. I mean, this is the last part of the questions, and they're all yes and no questions. So for future, I'm going to get a StreamYard account and I'm going to get a YouTube account, but it's all going to be private. So that way, Trina can get me into the trance, and then I can actually channel and we can ask questions to get answers. So I'm just setting up the boundaries because a few weeks ago when I went to work with my pendulum, you always ask a yes question and no question. And then, you have them show yes, show no, ask a yes question, no question. Then I was like, are you of love and light? Well, all beings, whether positive, negative, they have to answer truthfully. And when it said no, I said, I break all ties. Man, I got the smudge stick out. I was burning dragon's blood for protection. I was like, okay, I am not messing with negative energy. So waited about 15 minutes, went back, and then that negative energy was gone. But when it said it wasn't 11 light, I was like, nope, I ain't working with you because you're a trickster.
Right.
You didn't open sacred space before you started?
No. I always make sure who I'm working with before I do that.
Yeah. Hi, Lucky. Lucky's just listening. He's an audience member right now, even though we're on his channel.
Oh, it's sweet. You're all very sweet. It's nice.
Oh my God, I love Lucky.
The truth is, all the answers are in with you. It's not in these books. These books are great and I'll get you a foundation. Angels and everything, they're going to get you so far, but I got to be careful what I say at this point. It's all here.
Go for it, baby.
All the truth is there within you. And the problem we live in is we're all, especially people like us, we're batteries, and they want to influence us to manifest the reality that they want. We have the ability to manifest everything we ever desire, the impossible. We can manifest the impossible, but media and government, want to put self-doubt in us. And that's when we're the problem. The problem with this world being the situation as is, it's us. It's it. That's it. We're responsible for the negativity in our lives. I know, I complain about my job and I complain about a lot, but then I realize that when I sit down with my higher self and it's like, you created this. Like, no, I didn't. I don't like this. So I wouldn't create this. I'm like, yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And then they give me reasons for it. And I realize, yep, you created this reality that I'm in. All the problems that I have in my life are part of mine. They're my problems because I created them. So, and I don't as much believe in demons. I just believe that demons are someone else's angel that just, they're the angels that they're working on is manifesting the world that they want, and just happens to be something that I don't want. And it, that's what would be demon to me.
Mm-hmm.
The real negative demons that I will not mention their names, but the worst one, those are ones that are just such from negative people that put out their egregores, stuff like that. And those ones are horrible, but I don't believe they're spiritual beings. I believe they're beings created by humans. And once the humans don't believe in them anymore, they go away. But that's just my opinion. I have lots of opinions.
No, I love it, because that, to me, that's how I flow, is that, everything's a beautiful story. Everything is a story. Everything's created out of the imagination of all the storytellers who are us. That's it. That's it.
They're talking about Earth transitioning from third to fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And it's like the story of the rapture. The 144,000 are just going to up and disappear. But if you were to separate people, the empaths, the people about cooperation, compassion, that's where some of what Brian's talking about, these ice walls, could come in. Those people are still going to be alive. We're just not going to see them anymore, because we're going to fade from them and they're going to fade from us. And if we're all going to share this planet, how many ice walls are there?
Right.
So I think that's pretty cool that you brought that up, Brian. Thanks.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I think, there's ancient stories that, the past is the future and the future is the past, time is fluid type thing, that the earth actually would split into, in a way, but it's not splitting. It is that it's the living conscious experience that, yes, some of us will choose to live in a new earth of compassion, harmony, unity, all that stuff, all that great, nice stuff, lots of water and greenery, right? But then there's going to be a lot of the humans that choose to, what, in my opinion, I would reference like Blade Runner or Mad Max, more like Blade Runner stuff, that they are choosing more of the technology, the more, there should be some supreme being telling us what to do through the technology, whatever, but it's not like we're living in two separate, we're all on the same earth. It's just to what level we're at, right? And so it's like what you're saying, Matt, is that they're going to be there. It's like the parallel world things, as in, all of a sudden we might see. Just the other day, somebody told me they saw my doppelganger out in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm like, I hear that 24. I hear it. I hear that I have a doppelganger, probably at least quarterly, like every year, at least 3 or 4 times a year, that they're out there in the world. Who knows? It might be a me that is out there in a parallel world. But that's what I'm talking about with like the consciousness, same as you, Matt, saying we're actually going to be living on the same planet, quote unquote. It's just, what do we perceive is what we live, right? And there are a lot of humans that would choose Blade Runner. Like I know a ton of humans that would choose the Blade Runner world over, the Garden of Eden. I know tons of them, hands down.
Maybe the ice walls are between different realities of Earth, because I do believe there is going to be a split, and there's going to be another ice wall created, because it's not the Earth that actually is going to split. It's basically, you're going to have an alternate Earth. So you're going to have one Earth where the people are going to stay 3D. You're going to have the other one that's going to stay 5D.
Right.
The change is going to be so subtle that you will not notice it. And like I said, it's going to take a couple hundred years, but then eventually I think the ice walls are actually walls in between alternate reality.
Okay. Cool.
So when you're able to pierce that, you're actually going to Earth again, but in a different reality.
Okay.
So
Called
when the
timeline
split
jumping.
happens, right, you're going to have two different timelines. You're going to have a 3D timeline, 5D timeline, but it's going to be
It's not too. It's not too. I've been to like 5 different ones just this week alone.
5 what?
Timelines. It's not for the faint of heart. And I have experienced me in 5 different lives, and it is shocking. And when you see the possibilities, you realize the choices you have are humbling.
Oh, yeah.
You've known this, but I didn't know what I could know. And what is out there, the possibilities and what we are experiencing right now is kind of the lowest of the low.
Yeah,
It's
is,
not
man.
bad. It's not bad. That's the
It's,
problem.
it's just, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And when you see the possibility, the potential, the people living in the other timelines and they are like, why are you choosing to live in this? And I'm like, I have no choice. And the other ones are like,
sorry, you just yeah, go ahead. Yes.
I have to be here. There has to be a version of me in this time. And the other ones are like, point taken, and then we go. But when you meet it's enough. If you're talking to 5 versions of yourself, it is maddening. It is frustrating because you can't say anything without saying, not knowing the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst person you can lie to is yourself, and they will know that, and they will tell you. But you can't do that except for you have to create that. You have to create a new reality for the other realities to meet in, and that is interesting. But yes,
Yeah.
it is. The potentiality we have right now. You call it 5D, 3D. It's more complicated and less complicated than that. The problem is to get your mind around it. It's maddening. And of course, then the idea is just put the labels on it, make it easier, call it 3D, 5D, 7D.
Right. That's why. Yeah.
Because the 5D, 3D thing, they mean something in physics that don't mean anything else in spirituality.
Right.
And once I get beyond that and talk to the other versions of myself, and they're like, you don't like labels, and there's a reason. You don't like acronyms, and here's why. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Let it go. Move forward. Take the lessons and move forward.
Okay.
But again, the problem is when you meet this yourself, they know everything, so nothing I can possibly say I can't get anything by them where I can say, oh no, this isn't my fault. This is what I'm supposed to do. And then like, no. There's nothing you can say to them where they will not know the answer. And you have 5 versions of yourself talking to you. And it's not a tribunal where they're yelling at me. It's us talking to each other, making decisions, and me telling them things that they're missing. But they're all me. That's the problem. They're all me. And doing this is
healthy. It's maddening and healthy at the same time. Yay! I had to pick on you there, Lucky. What was the word you wanted to describe it as?
I wish I never started.
Oh, same when most people are getting healthy. It's hard. It sucks.
I asked for this, and I got taken out of that group to a new group. And a new group, I don't want to say better. They're different, but they're much more higher minded. And I am at the lowest end. And I think I was higher minded. And these 5 versions of myself, I'm going to say 5 because it's easier because the more they bring people in and out from different timelines, because just because I chose it, the other versions of myself are also choosing it, so that's why we can meet. It's we all do it in our sleep, but it's when you do it meditation, takes a lot out of you, but that puts a lot into you.
Yeah, good way
And
to put
if
it.
anyone asks me how to do it, I will never show anyone how to do it, because unless you find it your own way, you're gonna mess up. I'm not gonna use the word, but you're gonna mess things up, because I have messed things up because I got information from other people, and it's not the way to do it. We are the books inside us. Everything we ever know is
Yes.
inside us, but you have to trust your instinct. You have to trust your abilities. Go inside and believe in yourself, and then you take the next step. Until you believe in yourself, you're gonna fuck everything up. Let's just say, I'm gonna say it flat out. Unless you believe in yourself, you're gonna fuck everything up, and it's gonna be a mess. But most importantly, Chloe, thanks for coming. Wiki Trista, thank you for coming. Scotty Boy, Loretta Enigma, Pearl Jones, Elderberry, Seeker of Truth Shelley, thank you for coming. Mary Wins, New Yoda, Papa Joe,
Pajo.
Elizabeth Bauer, and I saw Truth Seeker, Truth Wave, Truth Wave Energy. Thank you for coming. I wrote all the names down, so I didn't miss anybody. Oh, Chloe's still here. Thank you for coming, Chloe. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I got that off my
Chat.
head. Yeah. The timeline shifting is, I was sitting to myself trying to figure out how am I going to explain this to anybody. And I got apartment building, and that's not right, but it's work, because the higher self is the gatekeeper. He's got the key to all the rooms, and he can open the rooms up if you. It's like, where are we going with this?
There we go. And also, Lucky,
third dimensional people, because I want to be fifth dimensional, so I give gratitude for those that are choosing to stay there. But if I think about multiple timelines, if everything shifts, then the people that are third dimensional, they're going to continue, but now they're going to be brought into that fifth dimensional mindset like us. And my fifth dimensional mindset is going to end up in those third dimensional timelines with me being a third dimensional thinker. So does that just happen, and it just appears like nothing's changed except some of the people we argue with the most, all of a sudden we're getting along with? It's like, what the hell happened here?
We are them, they are us. I am as you are as I am, it is as I am, it is
and we're one big happy family.
As we are, yes. Yeah, exactly. It everything, it just keeps circulating and regenerating and circulating and regenerating, and it just goes on and on. The one thing that I would say is, Brian, you talked about how you think it's going to be like kind of a slow progression, transformation over a couple of 100 years. I agree with that, but I do think there's going to be one big kind of catastrophic event that will be a very big deciding moment for individuals. I do think so. I think there will be one big, and not to the point that like, okay, everybody's dying and we're down to the last few thousand. Not like that, folks, but I think there's going to be something big down the road. We might not even be alive when this happens. Down the road, that, well, I'm sure we'll come back again. We're going to come back again. I know I will. But I think will kind of be a big deciding factor as into where this is a jump. Those who stay in 3D are going to use that to riot, loot, harm, be disparaging, and then those who choose not will be of service, gratitude, reshaping the world. So that's going to be a big deciding factor for my opinion personally.
The problem you say is some of us won't be alive. It isn't like that. It's far more interesting. Is there's going to be an aspect of us that's going to be alive no matter what happens.
Well, what I'm trying to say, Lucky, as in, I'm not saying this is happening tomorrow. Like the Lucky I'm talking to right now, you might be dead and reborn. You might be doing something else. You might be somewhere else. I'm trying to. Lucky, stop for a minute.
No, you stop, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Life and death doesn't matter.
Lucky.
It doesn't matter.
I am
We're
talking
eternal
about it.
beings.
Stop
Do I
for
need
a
to
minute.
separate you children?
No, stop for a minute. I'm talking about a catastrophic fucking event. So I have to be responsible and tell people it's not happening tomorrow. Whatever you need to talk about with your metaphysical thing, let me finish and talk about how it's not happening tomorrow. We have to pay attention to what the people are hearing. And if they can invoke fear, then it's my responsibility to tell them it's not happening tomorrow. Got it?
No.
That's what I'm doing.
No.
So, dead or alive, I'm just saying, it's not going to be happening tomorrow. So the whole dead thing, I know you're having some spiritual conversation. I'm talking about a factual event that will take place. Matt, you probably won't be here. The Matt that I'm speaking to right now, you probably won't be here for it.
No.
That's what I'm talking about. The actual
But part of me didn't want to come back to
Earth. What I'm
saying? But if I'm here to be working on helping it elevate, I definitely want to come back another time to see what the fruits of my labor created.
Right. Right. We're all, most of everybody is going to be flowing in and out.
I don't want to take a trance and go to another planet on the Christ consciousness. You know, if I'm just an orb of energy and that's what that planet is, I'll take that before I have to come back to the cosmic school of learning.
Right.
Well, that's what Earth is.
Until you decide that it's not a learning place, it's a doing place. Right.
Some of us learn by doing.
Yes.
Some of us can read.
Yes. So, Lucky, I didn't mean to scream at you, but I really do. When I'm saying something like that, normally I don't care. But that could invoke fear into people. We have no idea who's going to listen to this. And I have to be responsible with my words, not yours. And so I needed to finish that point as in, it's not happening tomorrow. That's what that point was. Because I have to be responsible for me. Does that make sense? So I apologize for yelling, but I wasn't even able to finish.
This is what I'm talking about. We need to be able to listen to each other's points of view without having to argue and defend ourselves. Now, sometimes we're passionate and heated, and but also in return, you weren't completely willing to listen to what Lucky had to say.
That's because I am now, so he can speak now. I needed to be able to finish. It's my responsibility, right? Lucky, you can talk about all the metaphysical stuff you want. I could care less, right, about that. I was only needing to make that point, right? It's the first time I've ever said it, Lucky.
I have bad internet, and I'm at an hour and a half.
And anyways, we fight like brother and sister all the time. That's what people don't. That was the point of, Esoteric Tea, was to fight like brother and sister all the time.
So
like, if you want to say that there is no such thing as life and death, go for it.
Because it's been an hour and a half. I have another show after this, and my internet is crap, and I might not even do that show. But Robert is next, and I'm having internet troubles as it is right now.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
I'm sorry for yelling. I'm volatile, I guess, and I guess that's
Lucky is Boston. I'm Chicago. This happens all the time, boys. Right? Right, Lucky? And thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah. Did you have fun?
Oh, yes.
Good.
Great conversation.
Yeah. Do you, Matt and Brian, do you want to leave off with anything? A quick little, anecdote or a saying, anything? Brian, go ahead.
Do everything out of this heart space of love, and you can't go wrong doing that.
Right. Go ahead, Matt.
Well, I'm looking forward to going back and reading all the comments.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There were some great ones, so thank you everyone who participated.
Yeah, and thank you, gentlemen. And yes, do everything out of your heart space. Follow that heart. Yes, let it guide you. Thank you, gentlemen. Matt, I thought that was so cute. Do I gotta break you two up? No, this is our standard. This is what we do. You should know. So thank you all for coming. Lucky is definitely bleeped out. You could even see his screen did some weird thing. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Brian. It was charming. It was good times. It was interesting. So yeah, I'll be looking at the comments too. Follow your heart, everybody. Get into your heart center and just listen to it, talk to it, be with it. Thanks, fellas. And I hope Lucky sounds off. Bye, guys.
Bye.